When we look about what we know about the Avos, about the forefathers, we see that there are a number of parshios that speak about Avraham. We know many details about Avraham's life. There are many parshios that speak about Yaakov, a considerable amount of parshios in the rest of Sefer Bereshis. But isn't so much that we know about Yitzchak. One thing that our parsha does make clear about Yitzchak, aside for his gevura, his strength, his tzidkus, his righteousness, is that also he was a pretty good businessman. After Yitzchak goes down to Gerar, and the episode takes place with Yitzchak and Avimelech, Avimelech says, Yitzchak, you can stay in Gerar as long as you want. Avimelech tells the people of Gerar, anyone who starts with Yitzchak is going to be in trouble. Yitzchak settles in Gerar. And over the course of time, Yitzchak begins to dig wells. And every time he digs a well, he becomes financially successful. Over the course of time, the people in Gerar become jealous of Yitzchak every time he digs a well. And Avimelech says to Yitzchak, please go away from us. Okay, so Yitzchak goes. And he starts to dig the wells now that his father Avraham had dug. And he names the wells the same name that his father Avraham had named them. Well, weren't they in existence? The answer is that the Plishtim filled them with earth after Avraham was gone. So now Yitzchak redigs those wells and is successful financially again. Suddenly we see that every time Yitzchak digs a well, there are more and more people who become jealous of him, and there are shepherds, Ro'ei Gerar, who now start to argue with him about the wells, and they start to fight over the ownership of these wells. And the Shloh explains that Yitzchak's next action is very telling about who he was. After there was a battle, there was a fight over a well, the pasuk tells us, Vayal Misham Be'ersheva. Yitzchak decided to get up and to go away. He didn't want to fight, he didn't want to argue, he just wanted to go away. Now, one would think that one would go away from conflict. They don't like conflict, and therefore they say, these are the type of people that I don't like dealing with. I'm just going to have nothing to do with them. And that's what he did. He went to a different place and he started digging wells. But all of a sudden, Avimelech and Fichol, who was the head of his legion, come to Yitzchak and say, hey, we want to make a bris, we want to make a covenant with you. Now, if Yitzchak was already insulted by Avimelech having thrown him out of Gerar, and already insulted by the shepherds of Gerar claiming territory that Yitzchak himself discovered, wouldn't you think that Yitzchak would say to Avimelech, listen, I'm out of your territory, we don't need to be near each other, let's just have nothing to do with each other. Instead, what does Yitzchak do? Instead, Yitzchak says, fine, I will make a covenant with you, and he even throws for them a mishteh, he throws a party for them. The Shloh explains that we learn a tremendous midah lesson from Yitzchak. Not only does Yitzchak try to stay away from conflict, but Yitzchak also understands how important it is that when someone wants to make peace, make shalom with us, that we extend our hand, that we're ma'avir al midosav, that sometimes we just let things go, even if we were hurt, in order to have shalom, in order to have peace, if someone else is pursuing peace. Now, this is something which a person has to be very careful about. A person shouldn't just simply allow someone to walk all over them. But at the same time, we have to understand that if people are true and sincere when trying to seek peace with us, when trying to make up for a way that they mistreated us, we have to be considerate of that idea, and we have to be able to really give them the time of day to try to make the situation right. And the lesson, the powerful lesson that Yitzchak teaches us is that sometimes in life we are wronged. That's the reality. And sometimes the people who wronged us realize that they made an error and want to make up for it. When they want to make up for it, even just for the sake of trying to make things right, we shouldn't be so tough. We shouldn't make it so hard upon them to actually try to make things better with us. Yes, we can take the approach of I don't want to have anything to do with you. But Hashem encourages us to seek shalom, to seek peace. It doesn't mean that we have to be embedded within each other. Yet it does mean that we have to feel that at least there is some level of civility. May we be zocha, may we merit that we heed the lesson of Yitzchak and apply this concept to the relationship in our lives and be able to afford ourselves and other with the blessing of Shalom that Yitzchak was afforded. Thank you, and good Shabbos.